Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 204 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Dirk as per usual, live on Terminal City FC's YouTube channel and the Area 51 Sports Network Twitter/X page, and of course, on demand wherever you get your podcast. Talking all things footy today on a cloudy, well, sunny earlier day in Vancouver, and the Vancouver Whitecaps. Another game, another win, and this time it was away in Orlando, and overall a very possession-based, dominating game from the start. But it took a bit of Thomas Muller magic to fully secure the 3 points.
You know, this was a match that felt very dominant from the Whitecaps. Like from beginning to finish, they got caught in the first half.
Yep.
Again, playing that high line, sometimes it kind of burns you, but they were able to. It's a different year for the Whitecaps in that anytime you go down, you're not out of the game, and they continued to just follow the same game plan. They continued to do what they were doing, dominating possession, dominating the number of attacking opportunities, and obviously came a little bit late, but it paid off.
Yeah, and right from the get-go, it was all Vancouver in terms of possession, though the final third wasn't that great in the first half, and yeah, they did caught out on the break with Torhausen, Mr. Viking guy, sounds like a Viking who just scored on Takaoka. Everybody was caught out with a high line, but that second half, again, was all one-way traffic.
Yeah.
It felt Vancouver was destined to score a goal, especially when Ryan Gauld came on in the 60th minute. And it was Gauld who was in on the play when Nelson Pierre gets a very ugly first MLS goal, but it's one you obviously take.
You know what? It's your first goal in kind of a professional environment. You take it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You're just happy it goes over the line. There were some questions about handball on this one. Replays, it's kind of tough. I think it does go off an arm at one point, but it's one of those ones where, there's absolutely nothing you can do in terms of reacting. And Pierre, good for him. Very good to finally get that opportunity. And it's going to be really interesting for me next year is what is this battle between Pierre and Illumi going to look like in terms of, being a possible the second number 9.
Yeah, and 2 young strikers. Illume was away on international duty and scored for the Tunisian under-23s, which was good to see. But Vancouver just kept pushing and dominating. It looked like Sebastian Berhalter, like a minute into stoppage time, got a goal, but went underneath the goalkeeper, and every angle pretty much showed it was over the line, but VAR said otherwise.
It is a goal, but I understand why it was not counted as a goal, if that makes any sense. MLS does not have Hawkeye technology. We don't have like the little chips inside the ball like you do in Premier League or other leagues in Europe. So you can't measure this to the millimeter. It all ends up being eye test. And it's not like hockey where you have cameras built into the goalposts. The ball looks like it goes over, but in every review, where you see the ball over the line, you can't actually see the line because his knee is covering it.
Yeah,
now, the thing is, if his knee is there, the ball is over because the ball's on the other side of his leg. But because you can't see ball and line at the same time, VAR can't overrule the call on the pitch. So I think it was a goal, but VAR did the right thing.
Yeah, because it was hard to see because under Galace's knee.
Yeah.
But
I know that's going to anger people, and I hate it, but this is one of those situations where VAR did exactly what it was supposed to do. It is still the wrong call.
Yeah, I that's a goal any day of the week, and it goes to show why MLS needs goal line technology. I understand why they don't, because it costs a lot and all that, but it's still
to retrofit it in every single stadium. You have to do a lot of work in that. And when you're looking at a stadium like the Whitecaps, where those posts get moved, if you got a BC Lions game or you got other things going on in that venue, BC Place is a busy building. It's used for so many different things. You got to reset that every time.
Yeah, and apparently it's very tough to set up. So
yeah,
I understand why MLS doesn't have it, but it should have it. But again, there's a lot of factors there. But
Yeah.
it didn't really matter because Thomas Muller did Thomas Muller things. This is why they signed this guy. He shows up when you need him the most and just beats Galais on the right corner rather, and Euphoria right at the death for the Whitecaps. And give a lot of credit to Tate Johnson for making that tackle to prevent Orlando going on the break just a minute or so before it happened. But again, this is Thomas Muller, one of the best to ever do it. And he's done this many times with Bayern and with Germany, and now he's doing it for the Whitecaps.
There was a stat that was put out, and I want to see if I can find it, but they talked about from the tackle from Tate Johnson to the goal, it was the number of passes that happened in between. It was something like 20, like in order for the buildup of that play to happen. And it just shows how calm the Whitecaps were in stoppage time after having that adversity of having a goal disallowed to come back and say, yeah, we're still not finished.
Yeah, and Jesper Sorensen talked about it after the game, saying we can't really let the emotions get to you with a goal being disallowed. You just got to keep pushing, and that's what they did.
Yeah. Never say die. And you could see how much it meant to these players with that dog pile at the end. I don't know if Thomas Muller has ever been on the bottom of a dog pile like that. You know, I don't think I have since I was a kid, but
you probably break all your ribs if you were today.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I probably would too.
I wouldn't stand up afterwards. But I mean, just how good does that feel when there's such a collective in this team, and it's moments like that that show it. We even saw it at the end when Sarita was interviewing Thomas Muller, and Bearhalter's behind him, picking him up as they're cheering. There's such a feel good atmosphere within this team that even if you have moments like this, even if they lost, I don't think that gets taken away from them right now.
Right.
You just say, all right, brush it off next time.
Yeah, and goes to show that, we talked about it endlessly, that this team has a very, tight-knit bond, a lot of togetherness, and then you add Thomas Muller, one of the best leaders and, all-around personalities in the entire sport.
How do you take a team that is good and that has good leaders in the team and still make them even better? Like that is a very difficult thing to do. And I think it's almost even more difficult than coming into a team that is dysfunctional, where you're like, okay, I know how to take care of this and make these guys rise up. How do you take a team that's already doing it and make it even better? I find that more difficult. So I credit to Thomas and what he's been able to do to just elevate that much more what was already a very good team and a very good year.
Yeah, and another reason why he was signed, not just to be like a big marketing thing. Oh, look at this, we signed Thomas Muller. We're gonna put some butts in the seat. No, we're gonna sign him because of his footballing ability and the fact that he is a leader on and off the pitch. And he's going to show that he's embraced, Vancouver. He's biking around the seawall, checking out the city, going to Canucks games, even going to the Vancouver basketball game or the Raptors.
I saw that, yeah.
He just goes to show that even though the Whitecaps are collective as a team, Thomas Muller just made them even more, just added to that bond.
MLS in general, with this last transfer window, got very, very lucky in bringing guys like Son Heung-min and Thomas Muller over because of what it's done to not only the fan bases of the Vancouver Whitecaps, LAFC, what it's done to galvanize those two teams. So it's a very feel-good story for the league. And I don't know why, but it feels different than Messi's, because Messi's was a very defined building block, where these two feel more organic. They feel more, authentic to me.
Yeah, and Messi, the league just got over oh, we have Messi now. We're going to use that for marketing purposes.
Massive. And I get it. I get everything that he does for the league, but
there's just something more grounded.
Going to Miami and even LAFC. Going to LAFC, you're like, okay, that's where every player goes. but it just feels good. And maybe it's the soft spot I have for Son, being a Tottenham fan for as many years as I have been. But this, and I think we've said it many, many times, this year in general, this season in general has been so exciting and so fun to watch for so many reasons that go even beyond what we've seen with the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, and it just, with Muller and Son, it just feels more grounded.
Yes.
Or, I don't know how the word
is, I think grounded is a great word. I think you hit it right there.
Because I guess for us in Vancouver, we never had a signing like this, and nobody expects
the expectation of a signing like this.
Yeah, like you and I,
this was a possibility, so we never wished for it.
Yeah, you and I talked about it throughout the show's existence that we came to the terms that Vancouver will never sign a big name, but they did.
Well, even think about when we first heard this rumor back at the MLS All-Star game, and it was I can't remember who mentioned it on the. Thank you, Twelman. Yeah, it was, and I was like, no, not a chance. It's not a thing.
Yeah,
I heard it again, and I was like, no, it's still stupid. Tom Bogert said it, and I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? So it took 3 very reputable individuals to say something for me to even think that it was a possibility.
Yeah, and it still doesn't feel real. Like the whole Vancouver Whitecaps 2025 season feels like a fever dream, as I've said many times on this show. Like nobody expected the beginning of the year for the Whitecaps to be where they are in the standings. Nobody expected them to go all the way to the Champions Cup final. And of course, nobody expected them to sign Thomas Muller.
Hey, I'm just happy I said that they'd be in the top 6.
Yeah, I said, I predicted they'd be 6th.
I said top 6, and I wanted them to get over that 50-point mark, that barrier that they've never been able, and they've demolished it.
They pretty much shattered all our expectations this season, and they did it with so many injuries, so many international call-ups, and like
I have never seen an injury list like I saw after Champions Cup. The Whitecaps injury list was 18 players. I don't think I have ever seen that ever
in an MLS.
Forget MLS.
The NHL,
global football.
The only time the NHL
that was in a place where a natural disaster happened.
Yeah, the NHL has a stat called man games lost, where they track like the number of injuries on a team and how many games players missed. If the MLS had that stat, the Whitecaps would be leading that by a country mile.
And look where they are. Right? Like it's been a season where they've not felt down at any time. It's just like, okay, well, who next do we have? And it's because right from the very beginning, the Whitecaps, and even before Sorensen, this is something that was built into the club's ethos with Vanni Sartini. What's the team mentality? It's always about the team. There's no superstars. Your DP is the working class DP. It's all about carrying everyone up together. And there are leaders, and I don't want to call them silent leaders, but the leaders lead from the middle of the pack, right? They're not out up in front. And I really, really like that. I think the Whitecaps got to the point where now if you wanted to progress any further, you need that leader that's leading from the front. And they went out, they got that. But yeah, it's weird in that, I agree with you. It does feel a little bit like a fever dream. But also when I look back and you look at the individual games and you look week to week what they were able to do, it's also like I don't feel like I was ever really surprised in the moment, which is a strange thing to say because I think I should have been.
Yeah. I mean, there are games where I thought maybe this can't last forever. And let's face it, it's hard for the Whitecaps for any team in MLS or any sport to maintain a long run of form of going undefeated. Of course, there were some bad moments, like the Champions Cup final. Yeah. There was the San Diego loss at home, that loss to LA Galaxy, and the one in Colorado too. But the way the team picked themselves up is the most impressive part.
Yeah.
It's just that game in Orlando goes to show that the team should not be. The Whitecaps should never be doubted because it looked like Orlando was the favorite for obvious reasons. And you and I thought maybe just get a draw in Orlando.
This is, again, another one of those games where it was very difficult to define because these two teams haven't played each other in a number of years by nature of what MLS does with East Coast, West Coast conference, or I should say East and West Conference games. You can go 5 years without playing a team in a different conference unless you end up meeting each other at, MLS Cup final or in a different competition. What we did know was what those teams' individual histories were in the season so far. And the Whitecaps had definitely had a better season. Orlando's not to be discounted. It was also in their building. You had to give the edge to Orlando, but I always felt like this was a winnable game. I just didn't think it was going to be such a dominantly played game from the Whitecaps.
It was dominant, but
at no point did I feel worried. Yes, I know in the first half they were a little bit shy in getting around.
They weren't sharp. Even Thomas Muller wasn't sharp in that first half.
Maybe not sharp, but they still had over 20 shots in this game.
Yeah, and there were some things I didn't like from that game, like Jeevan Badwell on the wing. I kind of hope that experiment ends.
Interesting lineup.
JC Dunn was suited to play on the wing.
Yeah, I think he did good on the wing. You did find him cutting inside a lot to a more natural position for himself, but it was okay because with Ocampo on that right-hand side, he's going to be overlapping anyway.
Yeah, and Ocampo took a bit of time for him to get going, but overall, a solid game from him. And just sure, there were some things in that game like we can nitpick about, like Rios' touch should have been better at the final third.
Yeah,
but it just goes. But there was no like, oh, he was horrible type performance.
No.
So, and they won this game, so that's the most important part. So decision day is this Saturday. Every MLS team plays at the same time. 3:00 Pacific, 6:00 Pacific. Chaos, madness, so much at stake. Who's going to win the West? Who's going to hold home playoff games? Who's going to finish last? And all that. And the Vancouver Whitecaps will host this decision day this year and play FC Dallas, who are fighting for their playoff lives.
FC Dallas has looked quite impressive in their last number of matches. They lost their last one against LA Galaxy, but before that, they had gone...
They had gone undefeated.
8 games undefeated or something
like something like that.
So FC Dallas has a lot to play for. I think momentum, it's weird when you think of momentum because the Whitecaps have, 11 games undefeated in all competitions as well. It's both of these teams have something to play for right now in that
Dallas.
FC Dallas is in the play-in spot. They could finish out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
depending on there's 4 teams fighting for those last 2 spots right now in FC Dallas, RSL, Colorado, and San Jose. FC Dallas is leading the pack right now, but that can change when you've got 4 teams fighting for 2 spots. And the Whitecaps are fighting for their first ever Western Conference number 1 seed ever.
Yep. Also depends. Actually, the Whitecaps, all they need is a draw to clinch the Western Conference. That's how important the win in Orlando was. But if they get 3 points, they do not just get the Western Conference top seed. They get second in the entire MLS.
And then we can spend all of our time talking about what difference that game would have been that Tim Ford refereed and how would the season have been any different.
Or talking about, some games where they drew that they should have won, like when Minnesota was here, for example. Or Houston. But anyway, instead of looking at the past, we'll look at the future. As I'm looking at Dallas is here. Before that game against LA Galaxy, they did not lose a game since wow.
Yeah, it goes back about
July.
Games. Yeah.
July, when they lost in New York to New York City. But they drew a lot and they won some games too, but they didn't lose. And I'm not sure why.
It tells you how their season has transformed, right? A team on the ascendancy. They had to go through a little bit of change. They had brought in a big name player. Didn't really work out in Acosta.
Yeah. Acosta's in Argentina now.
Yeah. But I think they've found a model that works for right now. I think they still have a lot of work to do in the off season to now build the team in the mold that they now want after Acosta leaving. But they've got a good platform. They've got a good platform to do that from.
They have a solid team, but not like a great team yet. They did, yes, we mentioned lost to LA Galaxy in LA. Logan Farrington got sent off in the 16th minute, albeit controversially. They appealed that, denied, and he'll be missing the game here in Vancouver, and so would their other striker, Peter Musa, who suspended due to yellow card accumulation. So FC Dallas will be without their two main strikers.
Missing Musa is huge.
That is huge. Musa is one of the most underrated strikers in MLS, I think.
You on a different team, this guy is fighting for a Golden Boot.
Yeah, on a different team, but
and Dallas, even on the team that he is playing with right now, he has done very, very well.
It's their leading scorer.
It's going to be a very fun game. It's going to be fun to watch all the ins and outs, especially with every team playing all at once. There is a lot of movement still possible. We talked about the Western Coast. Eastern Conference is a little bit more locked up. We already know all the teams that are going to be in, but there is still a fight when it comes to who's going to be in those top four spots, those teams that are guaranteed a home advantage, at least in the first round. So there are things to play for in the Eastern Conference. And then obviously we're going to find out is who's going to get the wooden spoon.
We'll talk more about
like a DC United,
Atlanta. Whoever did the schedule, that was genius. We'll talk more about the rest of the MLS later, but I'm just looking at the standings for the Whitecaps. They have Dallas. No matter what happens on Saturday, could be a potential first round playoff opponent.
They very well could be.
So could RSL in Colorado, even Portland, or even San Jose.
There's no way of knowing. I mean, there's still, absolutely.
We won't obviously find that out until decision day wraps up, but these two teams, Vancouver and Dallas, could meet next week back at BC Place for game one of the first round. And someone on Blue Sky asked me if the Whitecaps can play their reserve team so Dallas can get a higher chance at winning. There's no chance they do that. Sorry.
Teams have been fined for doing things like that before.
They're not resting players.
Not going to happen. Also, you have a chance to win top of the West. I know it doesn't get you an award. It doesn't mean anything, but you want that
home field advantage.
You want that momentum heading into the playoffs. You want to come into the playoffs saying, "Hey, we've won 12 matches in all competitions." We don't want to say we just got a loss.
Yeah, if the Whitecaps win the West, home field advantage up until MLS Cup final,
and it means something. Playing on your home pitch means something, especially in MLS, and how far you have to travel.
Yeah, and Dallas and the Whitecaps played in March. Whitecaps won 3-1 down there in Texas. Dallas was at the time struggling, but of course,
very different team.
Yeah, picked up their form. That's the game where Jesper Sorensen said, "How about them Whitecaps?" After, hopefully, we'll get another "How about them Whitecaps" on Saturday as well. And yeah, this is going to be very fun to be at BC Place. They're expecting another big crowd, I would assume. And by the end, we'll find out who their first round playoff opponent will be and where they will finish in the Western Conference. San Diego is second, and they are in Portland. And LAFC is also in the mix as well, but their chances of kind of pretty much died as they lost in Austin, which also helped the Whitecaps.
Moving on, we are starting to get the nominees out for the different various individual awards with MLS. We've got at least 3 from the Whitecaps that we know are nominated. Coach of the Year, Jesper Sorensen. We have Yohei Takioka nominated for Goalkeeper of the Year, and Tristan Blackman named as a potential Defender of the Year.
All 3 very deserving of the nomination, and all make strong cases for potentially winning it. Jesper Sorensen, there's obviously other guys like Bradley Carnell and Mikey Vargas of San Diego who could potentially win it as well. But the case for Sorensen is strong because he came in replacing one of the most popular managers in MLS, one of the best
Most winning
personalities in
manager for the
MLS,
Whitecaps too.
and he, just gave the Whitecaps a very exciting brand of soccer to watch. He's dealt with all those injuries that could make anyone want to tear their hair out. But the next man out mentality showed, and Whitecaps have, for the most part, been a consistent team in the league and could potentially win the Western Conference.
I think it's a very difficult. Yeah, I can't pick one out of the three right now. Obviously, we have a soft spot for Jesper and what he's done for the Whitecaps. But I mean, look at what San Diego has done. They're possibly one of the first teams ever to win a conference. Philadelphia, coming off an absolute elite head coach who left and having to be the replacements to that, and then getting them to where they were when, again, nobody expected Philadelphia to be where they were. They weren't even in the playoffs last year, I believe.
No, they weren't. All three
of them are deserving. All three of them are deserving. And I don't know if it's going to be decided even by decision day. I think a lot of people's minds will be made up about decision day. But I think we're not even going to get to the playoffs before voting has to be in. So I think, it'll be decided by decision day.
Yeah. Yohei Takaoka, goalkeeper of the year, obviously leading the league in clean sheets. Has had some weird moments where he let in some bad goals, but for the most part, consistent, kept the Whitecaps in games.
I think you have to realize that, of course, he's going to have some bad moments when he has played every single match of MLS.
Yep.
You're going to have games where stupid stuff happens and you just kind of hold up your hands and like, yep, that was on me. You're not going to be perfect over, 34, 35 games?
34 games or whatever it is.
34 games, yeah. I think, again, he is a very, very viable candidate. I think the only strike against Takioka is that he's faced less shots this year.
And his save percentage is like in the middle.
Save percentage.
Yeah, that got lies like a Kalina, Charlotte, and Dan Sinclair competing.
You have to look at Takioka in everything else that he brings beyond shot stopping, in the fact that a lot of how the Whitecaps play begins with him and how he is able to distribute. The fact that he is able to act almost as a third center back in many occasions, how he leads the line from the back. A very viable candidate, but again, not a lock.
Yeah, same with Tristan Blackman, viable candidate, consistently been one of the best defenders in MLS. Shame that he's missing the rest of the regular season, but the hope is he's back next week for the playoffs. And according to reports, he's progressing well, just running laps on his own, not training with the first team fully yet. But
I'm going to take a bit. If he's ready for the first round, my guess is he starts on the bench. I think you're more likely not the first game of the first round, but if it progresses to maybe a game 3, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Blackman, he's scored goals even. He's been good at moving the ball up the pitch. He's in the top 2% for progressive passes.
And he can play with
in the league.
Look at the number of defensive center back pairings that he's been with this year.
Yeah, top 5% for long passes. Called up for the U.S. men's national team that unfortunately didn't work out as well as he hoped, but also a well-deserving candidate as well.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all 3 of them, and Whitecaps will be looking for 3 more points to close out the regular season at BC Place against FC Dallas. So we'll look at the rest of MLS and some big news there. So this kind of ticked us off. It ticked a lot of people off, for rightfully so. MLS has been using generative AI to write their match reports. If you read the MLSsoccer.com match report on the Whitecaps Orlando game, you can tell it was written by AI.
Yeah,
an 8-year-old could write better.
This was the first weekend that they've done that, and they did it with two matches, Whitecaps being one of them. And now it actually does say in the match, written by MLS generative AI, but it also says has not been reviewed by a human. So they basically just let it go and put on whatever it came up with without actually looking at it, and it shows.
Like and it gets a lot of factual stuff wrong. A lot.
The fact that it says that Orlando started brilliantly, that should tell you everything. Because even the Orlando people were like, yeah, not a chance. But then you look at how it basically was a minute by minute match report of all the stuff, like the little weird things that you don't write in a match report. Like the best way I saw it described by someone is that it looked like it was written by the 8-year-old that you're picking up for school that so desperately wants to tell you about their day, and it just jumbles all together all at once. And I
think an 8-year-old would write a better match recap. Yeah, to be honest,
it's not only was it poor. The fear is MLS isn't saving any money by doing this.
No,
I'm sorry, but writers that write match reports for MLS, they're not paid much. You're not saving any money over the long term either. It's such an odd use of resources when that human touch, in this case, this is your conduit between your faceless organization and your fans. This is a lot of how your fans are interacting with your product, and you've decided to no longer have humans to interact with.
Yeah,
it's just a very poor choice.
Like writing journalism, there's a human aspect of it that AI just can't replicate. And that's the biggest problem I have with AI in general. And yeah, people who have written for MLS website, like Michael McCall, he has in the past, I don't think they get paid much. I mean, it's like what, a few thousand and a few $100s per game US. I can't remember what it was, but still, if, any writer that loves MLS, loves the game, would be willing to take that because they love the game and they can add the human element of it. Like the AI doesn't even include quotes.
The one thing that we saw is a number of writers commenting that are very well established sports reporters talking about how this is where they cut their teeth. Like this isn't match reports aren't written by, a seasoned professional that's been doing this for a number of years. This is where, this is how people enter into this profession.
Yeah,
and
like
take away that college. It will have, further ramifications.
Tom Bogert said that it's being evaluated for the future person. Of course, other sports organizations like ESPN, MLB, NBA has used this.
Well,
I know ESPN does this for NNL.
We can talk about the fiasco with Sports Illustrated and AI, where it came out that many of the writers were using AI already. So this isn't a new thing. It's new for
MLS,
but this is going to be something that continues to go on for a long time. And unfortunately, I don't know. I like to be optimistic, but I feel like the pessimist in me is winning out in. This is the way things are going. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up with now a product of a lot of slop that now nobody is going to pay attention to because
that's what AI is. A lot of slop.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good way to describe it. And for the Whitecaps, at least, we see the human element in their match reports, in their copy for whatever, even the press releases. So... And there's a lot of complaints, especially Laurel Pafler, I believe that's how you say her name, who covers FC Cincinnati, well known around the league. She wrote something about, access, being lowered. National outlets keep decreasing coverage. But luckily for us in Vancouver, Whitecaps are very welcoming with how they treat the media. So we can literally ask for anyone anytime, they'll pretty much give it.
Yeah. And we know that we are in a very unique situation.
Yeah, and we're just glad the Whitecaps have never used AI for any of their stuff. No. Like the Whitecaps have some really good graphics. AI can't do that.
No, they have a good communications department to work with.
Yeah. Other big MLS news, we've heard that Busquets and Alba are retiring at the end of the season, but another big name is retiring. Well, not as big as them, but also a big name. Brad Guzan, the legendary American goalkeeper, has announced he will call it quits at the end of this season. Guy's like 40, 41 years old. It's impressive how long he's been around. 21 years. The guy from Illinois. Also spent 8 years with Aston Villa before coming home. And, won the MLS Cup with Atlanta United. Was been at Atlanta since they entered the league. And
I think he's their longest serving player right now. Yeah.
He started his career with Chivas USA, by the way. Club
the other one that's impressive for me in terms of people retiring that have had great MLS-based careers is Darlington Nagbe. 3 different MLS Cup rings, 4 different rings, 3 different teams.
Which is
many people can say that.
I don't think you can replicate that.
Right. I don't know if you saw the picture that he had of his retirement, and it had like the 4 rings on each of the fingers, and his hand just resting in the foreground. It was a very subtle.
Both Guzan and Nagbe, 2 of the best to ever play in MLS. Great ambassadors for the game, all around good people, leaders, and kind of stuck for the Whitecaps. They picked Omar Salgado with the first overall pick, and Portland took Nagbe right after in the 2011 MLS Super Draft.
Everyone remember Salgado, yeah.
Yeah, that still stings after all this time. You can always imagine what if, but great careers to both Nagbe and Guzan. Salute. Hope whatever they do, wish the best in whatever they do after. Decision day. There's a lot at stake here, but we'll start at the bottom with DC United and Atlanta playing the, I don't know what you want to call it, the Wooden Spoon Derby, the Bozo Derby, I don't know, something. You can be more creative than me, but yeah, it's the battle for last place, literally. And Atlanta, like, nobody expected them to be this bad this year. Nobody, with all that money spent, like $50 million or whatever it was on Latte Laugh and bringing Almiron back. Nobody expected Atlanta to be where they are.
You've got 2 stories in terms of teams like that. One is Atlanta on the East Coast. The other one on the West Coast is LA Galaxy. In terms of going from winning MLS Cup last year, almost being top of the Western Conference, only getting pipped on the very last day, to where they are now, where they were basically in the basement for the vast majority of this entire season.
Yeah, DC United.
It's such a weird thing. It's one of those things where I think that's why those of us that love MLS love this. You and I both, just before recording this podcast, we got to be on a separate call with all the MLS Apple Open Pass individuals. Caitlin Kyle, Bradley Wright Phillips,
Sasha Clark.
And one of them mentioned the fact that the great thing about MLS is at the beginning of the season, you have 30 teams that all believe they can win MLS Cup. And it's true because you look at any other league in the world. And I mean, let's take a look at the Premier League, for example, in England. Before the Premier League began, Liverpool was already
overwhelming favorites.
They were already being given a 25% chance of winning outright. 25% chance in a team or in a league with 20 teams is insane. That doesn't happen in MLS. It'll never happen in MLS. Now, MLS, again, because of the way that they decide to run their show, brings in a whole host of other problems that we could talk about, and we could talk about that for an entire month if we wanted to. But you can't say it's not exciting.
No, people. I know there are a lot of like Euro snobs saying, "Oh, MLS is unwatchable. It's boring." No, it's not, man. It's the most chaotic and fun football league in the world. And nobody expected teams like Philadelphia and Vancouver to be at the top of their conferences right now.
Where was Vancouver predicted by the vast majority of pundits?
Like 13th even?
Yeah. Only one person, I think it was Bradley Wright Phillips, had them as a playoff team. And I think he had them at 8th. Everyone else was 13, 14, even 15th. But they also said San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, I expected San Diego to be last.
I had no idea because they went out and got a couple of big names. They brought in a quite interesting young coach. They were just a big question mark for me. I'm surprised where they finished. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had made, say, like the play-in places.
Yeah.
But yeah, for them to do what they've done this year, it shows why they have a Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah, like a lot of intriguing matches on decision day. Top Portland and San Diego. Portland could do the Whitecaps kind of a favor if they win. Or even just a draw. Charlotte and Philadelphia. Charlotte's battling for fourth place with other teams like Nashville, for example, who are hosting Miami, which that's going to be a good matchup given how both those teams are. Like ourselves, I think they just need a draw or win in St. Louis. I don't know what the exact math is to clinch a play-in round. And Austin is looking to avoid the play-in round as they travel to San Jose. So a lot of good matchups here. Columbus too, with New York Red Bulls, who also made MLS Cup final last year and won't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of like intriguing potential playoff matchups we can see. Like we could potentially see a Miami Nashville playoffs or Seattle Minnesota. So, but with decision day, you never know what playoff matchups you're gonna get until it ends. Like Columbus could be in the play-in round or not. Same with Nashville because they have 54 points. A team like Dallas could be out of it altogether. That's the beauty of MLS, and that's the beauty of Decision Day. And we'll be watching as much as we can, even when we're at BC Place, to cover the Whitecaps FC Dallas. So, moving on, Vancouver Rise. They're closing out their regular season. A 1-0 win in Montreal. Jessica DeFilippo with another header off the set piece early. 10 minutes in. She's really good at doing that. And it was all pretty much stability, all calmness from there as they held on for the 1-0 win. That's 2 wins in 2 road games.
You know what? They've came on at just the right time. They've been able to kind of pip a couple of teams and move up to second place in the table. And I think that is very, very important because the one team you do not want to play in the first round of the playoffs is
Toronto. Yeah. Just another really efficient game from the Vancouver Rise. Good defensively. Gasling came up big when she was needed, like second in the table, over a really good team like Montreal, who I believe they overtook.
Yeah.
And Rise have 20 points in their last 10 matches, which is pretty impressive. And
my only question about the Rise this year is they can be defensively leaky, especially when you take a look at all the other teams that have made the playoffs. The Vancouver Rise are almost equal on goal difference in terms of goals for and against, which is a bit of a scary stat for where they are in the table. Obviously, they had a couple of really big losses there that skews those numbers a little bit. But over the whole of the season, if I'm looking to improve one place, that's where I'm looking at doing it.
Yeah. That was DeFilippo's 6th goal of the season also. What a first-time blast in the back of the net. Sorry, it wasn't a header, as I forgot. And, I mean, overall, it's been more or less expected where the Rise, heading into the season. It's kind of hard to predict a league that's new, but still, Vancouver is one of the expected top teams, and they closed their regular season with a road trip to Calgary to face the Wild.
Yeah, that'll happen tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I think it's also, oddly enough, isn't that around the same time that the Vancouver Academy is going to be playing tomorrow at Willoughby Park for their final game of Champions Cup?
Yeah, that's Yeah, I mean a lot of football around that time.
Yeah,
That
which is kind of
the
strange.
Rise and the Whitecaps.
Yeah. Other than that, one thing that we did last time we recorded this was take a look at our individual awards when it came to the Vancouver Whitecaps, our Player of the Year, our U23 Player of the Year. So we thought, you know what, let's do the same thing for the Rise and who has impressed us this year. Kind of make the case for different players if there were individual awards. And I got to admit, I found this much more difficult.
It's
than I
way
did
harder than the Whitecaps.
U23, hands down, I think was very easy.
It's Hollywood.
Hollywood, what she has done for this year, first professional year, come in. She's got some of the most goal creations for the Rise this year. She's not top. Quinn is top, and then I think there's one or two others ahead. But I think Hollywood has been by far and away the top U23 player. And as also we can mention, just earned another call up to the Canadian women's national team, which will be playing in a week, I believe.
Yeah, they got some friendlies as well. Yeah, there's a lot to choose from for, like player of the year if they did have one.
Sorry, goal creations. Hollywood is actually in second with 11, behind Quinn, who had 12. So I mean, she's right up there, Hollywood.
Yeah, Quinn is also tied for first in assists.
Yeah,
with 6.
Player of the year.
So many good options. You could even make a case for Hollywood to be player of the year. Even
you can absolutely make a case for Hollywood to be.
You could even include Quinn in there because they have been.
I narrowed it down to 5.
Yeah,
like, that's how tough it was for me. I narrowed it down to 5, and we've just named 2: Quinn and Hollywood.
Yeah, could also make a case for Samantha Chang.
Samantha Chang was on my list.
I think
she stepped up to captain this team after the injury to Shannon Wooler was phenomenal. I think she has grown from strength to strength, and I see her as a true leader in this team.
Could even make a case for Morgan McCaslin because no one has more saves in the NSL than her.
It's true. I don't have her on my list though. Again, I know she's faced more shots than I think any other keeper out there, but the leakiness at the back end, it's just a little bit. But again, I think she would be a tough one. In terms of defense, for me, the versatility and the gutsiness that I've seen from Jasmine Spencer.
Yes, that also.
I have her on my list. Again, defenseman or any sort of defensive player, regardless of the sport, they don't get a lot of love. She is one of the first players that I really, really paid attention to on this Rise squad for what she brought. I think her ability to play on either side of the pitch as
other flank as well.
Yeah, it was really, really good. The other person that I had, and again, this might be a little bit of recency bias, was Lisa Paczerski.
Yeah, I
think she has been very quietly one of the more consistent players. And again, we can talk about what she does in terms of creations. She's up there as well in terms of goal creations.
Oh yeah, she's
4th on the team.
I mean, she's one of the best creators his team has and one of the fastest players his team has.
Yeah.
And a lot of the offense goes through her.
It does, especially when you're moving down the right flank. So again,
it's hard to pick one.
It's hard to pick one.
Maybe this is the reason why they don't have a player of the year, because it's hard to pick one.
Maybe, or maybe we just haven't received it yet. I'm going to go again with Hollywood above Quinn. And the only reason I say that is because Quinn spent a significant part of this season injured. Now, that's tough to say. Like, that might actually work in Quinn's favor in the fact that she still has more goal creations. But it's for the fact that we've been able to see more of Hollywood.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Hollywood, Quinn, and then Samantha Chang. But
yeah.
Given how consistent Chang has been and how she stepped up as a leader.
Chang or Spencer?
Yeah.
I'm leaning your way with Samantha.
Yeah. So One more game for the Rise until the playoffs in Calgary. It should also mention that Jessica Coward has been called up to the Philippines women's national team
Yes,
in
that's
the upcoming window. So that's great for her and great for the Filipino football community.
yeah, great
in
for
Vancouver.
your team, man.
Yeah.
Or one of your teams, I should say.
Yeah, one of my teams. So let's talk about the other team that I actively support, Canada. The men's national team. Two friendlies over the past week. First win in Montreal, 1-0 loss against the Socceroos, Australia. Australia. If you haven't watched Australia as much, which I admit I am one of them, now you know why they're such a good team. That low block is nasty.
Yeah.
Like Canada had trouble breaking that low block down. Though
this was a game that seemed very one-sided in Canada's favor in terms of possession and opportunity. But Australia, one shot on target was all they needed.
And they are a very good transition team.
Yeah.
Australia. I'll give them that. And I mean, Tajon Buchanan was he looked like the guy that would break the low block down, given how fast he looked. He was taking shots. Like ever since he came back from his injury, he's
looked very good.
Yeah. And
thankfully so.
The final third play in general was just not good. Like so many misplaced passes, so many bad touches. And I'm sorry, Kyle Larin, oh my God, he was struggling to keep up with the transition, and his touch kept failing him.
You and I talked about this last week before on where is Kyle Larin in terms of the depth order in terms of strikers. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I still have him in second behind Jonathan David, but the only reason I have him in second and that he hasn't been jumped by, say, Promise David or Tani Oluwaseyi is because nobody scored throughout this entire window.
Yeah, nobody did.
It was theirs for the
goal
taking.
Scoring is a huge.
If any one of them would have jumped over, I think Larin would have been falling down the list because we're seeing this pattern with Kyle Larin, and again, it's just what happens to a player in their career, but it does make me I think there's a lot of I was about to say promise in the striking players that are coming up. But that's all it is right now. I haven't seen someone just kind of take it and run with it.
Jonathan David in these two games, I'm not seeing that hunger, that ability to strike.
Yeah.
I get he can drop back and be more creative, but at the end of the day, Canada needs him.
You need him up there. And you need him up there, especially when two players that did impress me in this window, and you've already mentioned one of them in Tajon Buchanan. The other one's Ali Ahmed. Yeah, it's not like service wasn't coming inside. Service was. It was there.
Yeah, there were some moments in both of these games where he had it or it was near it in the box, but it just went by him, Jonathan David.
Yeah. So.
And also mention Richie Larea for, he brought service down the left and CONCACAF dark arts.
Yeah.
But he had to be careful against Colombia.
He had to be careful, and we'll talk about Colombia later. But, man.
But that Australia game,
he's a known quantity.
That was frustrating. Australia's only shot on target was their goal. Late, Nico Segur was behind the play, and man, he was just the poor guy. He's been good ever since he got called up. Or switched allegiances to Canada, but. That goes to show his inexperience, especially as a right back. And Iran Kuda beats Max Kripo.
Yeah.
And there was also that one chance for Canada to tie the game where Liam Miller, good for him for being back, crossed path perfectly to Jacob Schaffelberg, but you could argue it was a good save by Izzo, but Schaffelberg also needed to finish that.
Yeah, that was the one that kind of got skied, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was one also right after Oluwaseyi somehow didn't put it in.
Yeah. Definitely there were opportunities in this game. I think Australia,
they're 5-4-1 low block. They came
into this game with a game plan. and they executed it very, very well. It may not have been the most entertaining on their part, but they knew what they needed to do to win.
Australia, heading into that game, haven't lost in 11, by the way. So that's how dangerous of a
If I
team
remember
the
right,
Aussies are.
they've qualified for World Cup.
They already have.
But
No, they lost.
They were just behind Japan in their group.
They were.
Yeah.
They were just behind Japan, and Australia's streak ended last night against the U.S.
It did. But again, another game where they went up first.
Yeah, but the U.S. Woke up. Unfortunately, Canada, I mean, they were awake in the game against Australia, but weren't ready to, like, fully, that killer instinct was really lacking in Montreal.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately. We can talk about Colombia, 0-0 draw here on Tuesday. The game was played in New Jersey, and honestly, if you would have seen that crowd, you would have thought that it was being played in the
Bogota
heart
or something
of Colombia. That was a sea of yellow. That was loud match. It was a hostile environment. I also think it was a very good test for Canada playing.
And for the most part, they did well.
I think so too.
I mean,
you're playing against the 13th ranked team by FIFA in the world, and you not only held your own, you had moments. The only goal that was scored in the game ended up being disallowed due to offside. So it shows that Canada did have something moving forward. Ultimately, it was the right call. It was offside, but. The thing that impressed me the most is when you're dealing with these sort of antics from certain nations, when you're dealing with referees where you're not necessarily on getting the right side of 50-50 calls, things like that. In the past, Canada has folded and they've let emotion, they've let things get under their skin, and they've started playing poorly. They didn't in this game.
Yeah, although Richie Larea had a talking to from the ref, but he kept his head for the most part.
It's Richie Larea. It's going to happen at least once. And again, I hate to say it, but while that yellow card shouldn't have been a yellow, it was a yellow because Richie Larea is a known entity.
Because he's Richie Larea.
He's Richie Larea.
And
sometimes that works against you.
Richard Rios, I don't know, he acted like he'd been shot.
Yeah,
and the ref
that's exactly the point I'm making. That's exactly the point I'm making. Is in the past, Canada would have started to fold, and that sort of chippiness would have grown. They would have let their emotions play over their skill, and they did not do that in this game. I think it was a good 0-0 game for Canada.
They did well defensively. Like they were doing a very good job. Fujiro and Cornelius in particular. Yeah, stopping Cucho and Luis Diaz.
Now, let's not be wrong. There were a couple instances where Dane St. Clair was completely beaten, and it was just by luck of it either hitting the post or being on the wrong side of the post that kept Canada at that 0-0. But you'll take it.
Yeah, like that one instance where everybody was caught out and Luis Diaz ran down the left wing, but good on St. Clair for cutting down the angle, but Diaz missed an absolute sitter.
Yeah.
So
this Canada now has a bit of a break. They play their next game November 13th, I believe,
in Toronto against Ecuador.
And then their next game in that window is going to be Venezuela, which is TBD. It was originally supposed to be played, I believe, in Florida somewhere, but due to American relationships with Venezuela right now,
and obviously can't be played in Venezuela because obvious reasons.
Yeah, and it looks like Venezuela, anyone from Venezuela is going to have a very hard time getting into the United States, so they're going to have to look for a new venue for that.
Yeah, and I think my main takeaway from this window is, we need to figure out goal scoring.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing's working. The final third is just timid, and
I want to see the next window where, yes, David is going to get starts, but I want to see either Promise or Tanny come on much earlier.
Yeah.
And to have real true shots. And fine, you can call up Laren, but I think this next window he sits on the bench.
I'm also been thinking, like, over the past day or so, like, maybe for more attack, do they need a formation change? could they have another body in the midfield with Jonathan David up top by himself? The 4-4-2 is great when it works, but offensively it hasn't in the last in this last window.
I'd be
open to it.
I'd be open to it. So, who's your midfield three? Who's your guy at top?
That's the thing. I mean,
because
top,
Eustáquio is going to be in there, but he's not a guy that plays at the top.
Yeah,
Kone
was up and down
into the game, but that first 20 minutes was pretty. Well, it was not pretty from him.
Yeah,
but I mean, he can go in there. I mean, Sigurd, we know we can play in the midfield, but right now he's got that right
Schwanner also with, an option.
Schwanner, you know what?
Could have Schwanner.
He didn't get a lot of time with Colombia, but I did like what I saw. Again, though, I don't know if he's the guy that sits at the top.
I think given his ability, Kone would be like the guy up forward, while Eustáquio and Schwanner stay back.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but it's mainly for I don't know who else I would put up there, but it definitely wouldn't be Eustáquio and Schwanner. But I find that they're more defensive minded than Kone.
Yeah, Kone played in the 10 with Montreal, I believe, so that also makes the case. But I don't know. I don't see Marsh changing the formation because when it works, it works.
Not only that, but it's been very defensively sound.
Yeah, and honestly, if given how he wants the team to press, I think I understand where the two striker system, like where his thinking is.
Then if you're going to do two strikers right now, get David on there. Play with the Davids. Play with the Davids. I want to see Promise David get a full 90 minutes or start a game beside Jonathan David, maybe not necessarily the full bit. And then Tanya Oluwaseyi is in the wings waiting for his turn. Yeah.
What I did like from this,
I don't want Laird to play in the next window. Like I said, call him up because just to make numbers, but I want to see the others get legitimate.
I think he'd probably be called up anyway.
Those are the four strikers you call up. They're the four strikers you call up. There's no one else right now for Canada that you do.
And you know what this window didn't help with us answering? Who's the starting keeper? Because both didn't really have that much to do.
I'm still leaning Crépeau.
Me too.
Because I think Crépeau played a better game.
Yeah.
Yes, he let in a goal. But Dane Sinclair was beaten more.
Yeah, I pretty much have to agree.
Yeah.
Again, both didn't really have a whole lot to do.
There was one save Crépeau made late in the game. That was an absolute reaction save that showed me he still has that ability. Right now, and oh my God, like if I had to rate it out of 100, let's say I'm going like 57% towards Crépeau. It's
probably 55 for me. Yeah, I don't know if that really doesn't make much of a difference.
But right now, that's the way I'm going.
Yeah, we're not going to find out who starts until the first game of the World Cup for Canada, but I'm leaning towards Crépeau, given that he showed, he can still make these reactionary saves, and St. Clair was beaten. But again...
but I feel more likely that Crépeau can win you games. When sometimes you just need a goalkeeper to steal you a game, I think
it's Crépeau.
Yeah, I feel more likely that
both of this window were like, they didn't really have much. So we'll see more in the next window.
It's still a toss-up, but it's just that feeling that I have.
And I don't think Ali Ahmed can be benched anytime soon if you want to talk about good things, because I had another solid 2 games.
The only thing that benches Ali Ahmed right now is when Alphonso Davies comes back, if they decide to play him forward.
We'll see when Alphonso.
We'll see, because Marsh has played him in that left back position. So,
Tajon Buchanan, as mentioned, has looked really good since he came back from injury, and I feel like there's more cohesion in that midfield when Eustáquio starts. Once again, against Colombia, he showed how important he is to this team.
Yeah,
and I'm glad he got the armband, because I think he's the rightful captain for Canada.
Yeah,
and we got a lot more questions, almost the same questions heading into the World Cup, but there's another window in November, and then there'll be another one in March, and of course some World Cup tune-up games. But overall, I'm looking at the squad. I think more or less this is what we'll see, maybe barring one or two names. But there's still a lot to work to be done, especially when it comes to scoring goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's a big question.
Let's move over to Europe. Well, since it's international break, I won't talk about Chelsea too much. There's nothing really that is noteworthy, other than Moises Caicedo changing agents, I guess. But I'm not going to talk about that too much.
Stop the presses.
Yeah, that's just. I don't know why people are making a big deal out of it, but whatever.
Who cares?
October 18th, Saturday, away to Nottingham Forest. Enzo Maresca won't be on the touchline because Anthony Taylor gave him 2 yellows against Liverpool. And he's been fined £8,000 as well, which is nothing for him. So no Maresca on the touchline. He'll be the assistant. And Cole Palmer's still not 100%. So probably won't see him until Chelsea plays Sunderland later this month. So that's Chelsea.
Not a lot going on for Tottenham as well. There was a little bit of a scare with Lucas Bergvall playing for Sweden. He was subbed off halfway through one of their matches. A lot of people thought injury. Coach is saying it was just tactical. And when you look at Sweden, nothing is going on with them right now. They're basically very, very close to complete elimination from World Cup. Isak is not performing. The whole team is in shambles.
The whole team isn't performing.
They lost to Kosovo.
Yeah.
Come on. The only other thing going on, Jed Spence played a full 90 minutes with England, did very, very well. But there is still talk about the fact that apparently he won't sing the national anthem. I guess I didn't realize this was a thing. I mean, a lot of times when the national anthem is played for Canada, I mean, I'm standing there, like everyone else, but I'm not singing either. So I didn't realize that players are judged by their pipes.
I mean, I'd rather have them sing it, but
he's still standing there.
Yeah, but he's still standing there.
Yeah, I mean, he's there. He's with his team. To me, that's still respectful. I don't know if there's something else, or maybe there's a different history in terms of England where you have to. But I don't know. To me, this was kind of one of those stories.
It reminds me of there's a video going around of like England's golden era. Everyone's singing but Gary Neville. Sure, but honestly, if we're up to me,
Gary Neville always looks like he's just halfway between dour and angry. I can't imagine him singing anyway.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a big deal when people make it out to me. But if you want my opinion, sing the anthem. I'd do it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why. It's not a conscious decision. I stand there and I do my thing, but I don't. I guess I never really thought about it. So now I'm thinking about, is me not doing it disrespectful? And I don't feel like, that's not my intention. And I guess I have to think that's the same of other people. It's not.
I know. For my strong stance is,
in my mind, you're getting ready for what you're actually supposed to be doing, which is playing a game.
Honestly, when it comes to club sports, I know in North America we sing the anthem before it. I don't think we should have it like they do in Europe, where it's only sung during international.
It
and
is
finals.
Thing. Yeah.
Like if it's a final, I get it.
Yeah.
It's a final.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Fair enough. Let's go on. And Tottenham, they have Aston Villa next. So Villa, they're starting to maybe put 1 or 2 things together based off the beginning of the season, but Tottenham has still looked very, very well so far. So I'm hoping that they're able to continue with what they're doing as well. Thomas Tuchel, England coach, he actually called out fans after their 3-0 win against Wales at Wembley, calling out fans for not doing their job as a fan. And it's kind of a weird thing because a lot of people are getting on Tuchel for the fact, like, you can't call out the fans. Like, that was a boring game, all this stuff. Like, and Tuchel's like, you're up 3-0 at the half. Like, what do you want us to do?
Won.
Not only that, like, the thing is with England, Tuchel is just one in a long line of managers that have been calling out English fans.
Yeah. England's won 6 straight games, by the way, and they've qualified for the World Cup.
Yep.
And his pragmatism is really showing because he's really like changing formations, experimenting with the call-ups, but so far it's been working.
And you touched on it there, experimenting with call-ups. No Jude Bellingham for this one. It was a big gamble. It paid off.
It's paying off.
I really, really like that Tuchel is saying you don't get called up for being a superstar. You get called up for
I like that too.
Doing.
That's why you got guys like
spot, you get it.
Jared Bowen
should be sports when it comes to sport and other things, but sport is a meritocracy, and I like that.
Yeah. Hey, giving Ruben Loftus-Cheek England call up. I thought I'd never see him play for England again.
Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, you take a look at England in this past window, and again, I mean, they were playing what? They were playing Andorra
and Latvia.
Oh no, sorry, not Andorra. They were playing Wales and Latvia.
Still,
Latvia, sure. Wales is an important match. Yes, you're expected to win it, but you're one of the 4 home nations, so you better win it, especially at Wembley.
They did handily.
8 goals to nil over the 2 games. 8 goals to nil. So you can't say it wasn't entertaining.
It's working. Sure, it's smaller opposition, but still.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what else you want.
I mean, you qualify for the World Cup. That's step 1, but there's still a lot of time until the World Cup for Tuchel experiment.
So qualifying for the World Cup. Cabo Verde has qualified. They are the smallest country by land to ever have done so. Second smallest by population.
I think number 1 is from population is Iceland. That might be wrong, but
it is. Iceland was the smallest.
Oh, it is right.
Population. Okay. Yeah.
So if you don't know where Cabo Verde is, it's an island country, an archipelago off West Africa in the Central Atlantic Ocean.
10 different islands that make it up,
or something like that.
Major islands.
10 volcanic islands, so that's kind of risky.
They qualified by winning their final match. I want to say it was Eswatini.
Something like that. And so Nigeria before then also dropped points.
Yep. Nigeria still has a chance because they won their last game 4-0.
Awesome, stepped up.
They needed. Other also qualifying, I want to say, was South Africa.
For the first time since 2010. So Bafana. Waka Waka. Yeah. Remember those days? Yeah. South Africa will be the World Cup.
Actually, the Vuvuzelas have never left ever since. So.
Yeah, and also Cabo Verde, population of around 500,000 people. Oh no. I'm reading that wrong. Their population is about 500K. Yeah, 500K. That's right.
Yeah, that's about right. Because I think Iceland's around between 3 and 4.
That's less than Metro Vancouver proper and less than Vancouver, the city.
Yeah.
That's how impressive this is. So well done.
I think this now the thing is we always knew that there was going to be teams that maybe haven't qualified before that are going to qualify for this one.
48 teams.
Because it's a much bigger tournament. They've doubled the number of teams that qualify. But while I think it might be too many teams for a tournament of this size, it does give you stories like this, which feel great.
Yeah. I was hoping the Philippines would be one of those teams, but unfortunately that hasn't worked out.
No. I haven't followed. How have they done in qualifiers?
Not great. I haven't won a single game.
Well, you know what? Maybe the Philippines will be one of those teams that wants to follow the same thing that Indonesia has been doing over the past years. Just don't do it like Malaysia's doing it.
Oh, they're already doing that, but legally, obviously.
But legally, yeah.
So, 20 teams now in the World Cup. Still a few more to go. If a team of note that has not qualified, Israel, as they lost 3-0 to Italy.
Yeah. So teams that have qualified, and I think the only team that has qualified out of England so far, or out of Europe, UEFA, is England.
Yeah, so far.
Qualified teams right now, and only England is the only other team.
I think Norway's next if all goes to plan.
Norway's very close. I know they're topping their table. They also played
Israel too,
in their first match. It could be interesting if there's any ramifications out of that game. Fans did unveil a Palestinian flag during the match. We all know how FIFA hates anything that is remotely political. So, I mean, FIFA has come down on nations for doing less.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
You hope that they don't, and you just let the football preval. But
I'm not gonna go into that because I don't think you'll like what I say. But
yeah,
you know, FIFA and all that.
Yeah.
So, 3 more in CONCACAF. As I'm looking here, a bunch of teams in Africa have qualified.
Algeria, Ghana, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Senegal,
Tunisia, Algeria.
Yep.
South Africa.
A lot. And then also South America. You've got some big
names there, including Andres Cubas in Paraguay.
I like that we have a couple of first World Cup, and I think right now Cabo Verde joins the list with Uzbekistan and Jordan as first-time qualifiers.
Yeah, Jordan and Uzbekistan qualified at the Asia Conference.
Yep.
Qatar's also qualified too.
Yep.
So there'll be the World Cup again.
Qatar, I believe that's where what's his name? Loptwegi is managing now.
Yeah. So good on Qatar. So yeah, I can't wait to see how the rest of this plays out because a lot of teams are still fighting to play in the World Cup here in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. So that'll conclude this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Follow me on Twitter, Joshua00, Nathan and Enduric. Podcast at Terminal City FC. We're also on Blue Sky. Podcast is on Blue Sky. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube. And if you're a business or if you know anyone who owns a business, we are looking for a sponsor. We'd love to talk to you. In the description, Terminal City FC at gmail.com. And yeah, we'll be back next week wrapping decision day, and we'll preview the Whitecaps playoffs and the MLS playoffs at large.
And the Rise playoffs, too.
Yeah, we'll be doing a lot of playoff stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Week. So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.